you've written to rail bosses. What have you proposed?
Well, we've set out a way for us, both parties, or three parties, if you like, the government and the employers, along with my trade union, the RMT, to navigate our way through. And that would mean that we would negotiate a pay agreement for last year, the 2022-23 pay deal. Then we would see what comes out of these station de-staffing and ticket office closure consultations, which should take a couple of months at least from here. And in that time, the company can disclose and put to us all of their proposals for station staff, catering staff, on-board train crews such as guards and conductors, fleet engineering and others. And then we can go on to see what their proposals are and move this dispute forward, and we can negotiate the current year's pay deal, because we haven't had a pay deal in this industry for 4 years now. So if people want to move it forward, they have to come to the table in the spirit of goodwill with a negotiating head-on, not a dogmatic head-on, and we can try and work our way through the issues.
The Rail Delivery Group says this is not a serious proposal.
Well, it's not a proposal, it's a means to an end. It's a means to negotiate through the issues that they want to put on the table and the issues that we need to resolve. So they're attacking our members. In the station issue, they've given me notice that they want to make a quarter of my members redundant. They are going to attack the catering services next, and they'll move on to other grades and departments on the railway. So this is a whole-scale attack on the staffing of the railway, the accessibility of people using the railway, disabled groups, people with visual impairments, women's groups and others have all joined with us. We've got 500,000 responses coming in to this station closure plan, and we have to deal with that. So the government needs to think about their stance, which is being condemned by all quarters in the country now about the way they want to run the railway on a dehumanised system. So we need to sort out the industry, and then we need to sort out our members' pay claim as well.
If this is to be seen as a serious attempt by the RMT to open up the dialogue again, why submit it on a Friday when it's too late for any industrial action on bank holiday weekend, which is the most disruptive, to be called off?
Well, the employers have told me they're not interested in taking this industrial action off. They've told me that many's the time. When the action's declared, they have 2 weeks in which to get down to the issues. We have to give 2 weeks' notice. There's more strike action planned for next week. We can negotiate at any time. I would come and meet them on the weekend, at nights, whenever they want to meet with me. The fact is the government will not give them a mandate to negotiate. It is the government that determines the train operating company's stance, what they do during the industrial action, what they do at the negotiating table, and indeed what they can say. And when I send a letter to them, it goes straight to the top in this government, and it's up to them to respond. So we can get negotiations on as soon as we can feasibly get round the table. And if they want to bring some fresh proposals about how to move that forward, we will listen to them. And if they make some sensible proposals, we will consider them. But at the minute, we've had no proposals for nearly 6 months now.
You're asking for a backdated pay deal, but you don't say what that pay deal needs to be that you will accept.
Well, the pay is not the primary issue, because they're attacking our people and telling them they're going to be made redundant. My members won't get a pay deal if they're made unemployed. So just on the stations, they want to get rid of the quarter of the staff. You don't get any pay if you're not employed by the company. The government is saying that they're going to take people out from the ticket offices and deploy them in the stations. But what they're actually going to do is give them P45s and say you're out of the industry. So we need to sort out the way the industry is structured. They've got some demands that they're making on our staff and our members about how they want them to work. They want them to have new contracts. They want to introduce lower pay rates, even than the ones we've got now. So if we can sort that stuff out, we can move on then to dealing with pay. And if they want to make us a pay proposal without the condition that we have to accept massive job cuts, then we will consider that proposal. But we've never had a suggestion that we can have a pay rise independent of these changes that they want to make at any stage in the last 2 or 3 years. So our people haven't had a pay rise for 4 years, and they'd like
the offers, though, the offers that have been put out there have been contingent on the RMT agreeing to the principle of modernisation. Can you see the RMT ever being able to accept the principle of modernisation?
Well, it's not the principle of modernisation, it's the principle of massive cuts and the actuality of massive cuts. They don't want us to agree in principle. They want us to accept that every ticket office in Britain will close. They want us to accept the redundancy and the cutting of 2,300 jobs out of the station grades. Then they want us to accept the massive cutback in the catering service on the railway, and they want us to accept changes for onboard train crew and fleet engineering staff that we haven't even heard about. So it's not about principles, it's about the actuality of massive cuts
but my
to the
understanding,
railway
Mr. Lynch,
and
is
making the railway inaccessible for many categories of users, such as the disabled and other people with impairment.
But Mr. Lynch, you were made an offer which has not been accepted, with a guarantee of no compulsory job losses until 2025. What kind of business out there can make an offer that's no compulsory redundancies indefinitely? Is any kind of business able to do that?
I haven't asked for an indefinite commitment for no compulsory redundancies at any stage during this dispute. We want a guarantee that our members will not be thrown out of work, and these companies can provide that. They've told me that face to face. The senior executives in the industry know that they can provide that commitment, but the government will not let them. It's the government that's dictating what they say and when they say it and how they say it. So there could be that guarantee given tomorrow morning if they wanted to, and then we could move on from there to address all the other issues. So we know that there's plenty of scope. They're asking our people to work overtime, and they're saying they haven't got enough staff while they are issuing us redundancy notices. That's the sort of incompetence we've come to expect from this government, that they demand job cuts while they also demand that we work excessive amounts of overtime. So none of it makes any sense. The proposals don't make sense. And so we can't put these stupid ideas that the government comes up with to our members in a serious referendum. We need some proper proposals that are thoroughly sought out, that will deliver a railway that's in the interest of our people, our economy and our environment, but not in the interest of the private sector profiteers.
You've written this letter in the hope of making some kind of breakthrough with the talks. It doesn't sound like, listening to you, or indeed by looking at the response from the rail delivery group, that this is going to bring you together, does it?
Well, I hope it does. We've written a serious letter. Our national executive has given me objectives to achieve, which are set out in the letter in the public domain. Many people that were negotiators in the industrial relations environment would think that's a very straightforward means to an end. If the RDG and the government do not want to pick up this initiative, that's entirely up to them. But we feel there is a way to navigate through that respects our members, respects their terms and conditions, delivers them a reasonable pay rise, and then we will listen to what the companies want to tell us about the way that they want to run the industry in the future. But the ideas they've come up with so far have met virtually an unanimous condemnation from around the country. I've been up to Scotland and the north of England, I've been down to Penzance. Everywhere in this country, people are coming out in their thousands to condemn this ticket office closure plans and the de-staffing of our railway system. They don't want that. They want a system that runs in their interests and not in the interests of the Tory government and not in the interests of their dogmatic agenda and the profits that are being extracted every day, including on strike days, by these private sector rail companies.
OK, Mr Mick Lynch, thank you very much indeed for talking to us.